time of year. It's October 2016, and my husband is an avid chukar hunter, which is an upland game bird, hence why we have 4 German short hairs. And he's out hunting today. So last night when he got home from chukar hunting and got a limit of chukar, he said, you know, he needed some more Clif bars, because I said, what did you eat? I mean, I made him a big hearty breakfast, but I asked him what he ate, and he said, oh, I had 2 Clif bars and some beef jerky. And he goes, and I had to share the beef jerky with Sage and Strut because they were hungry. So I've got to get on making snacks for all of them. And so he asked if I would make him some beef jerky. Beef jerky is so full of stuff you really don't need, and it's also very expensive. It works out to be about $17 to $18 a pound. And so just so happens I have Angus beef that I bought, and this was a top rounder, a London broil is what they have it labeled, which has very little fat. Any excess fat I'm going to cut off, but I had him slice it, and the girl didn't understand me, and she sliced it in big fat slices, not this way. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's okay, because after she started, I thought I can cut them into strips, and I can also, I'm going to save out a package to make stuffed beef rolls. If you've never had those, they're amazing. So it's perfect for that too. Okay, so right off the get-go, we've got to make a marinade. So I've got in here, and I don't know why I have my gloves on right now, but in here I've got 1 cup of packed brown sugar. He likes things on the sweet side, and I've got about, let's measure this out, about 3/4 of a cup of this very teriyaki, and he loves teriyaki beef jerky, so we're gonna make this into kind of a sweet and savory beef jerky, if you will. Now we've got liquid smoke, and I'm not smoking this jerky, so I'm going to go ahead with a full tablespoon. This I weighed, or I calculated the weight on this. It is 16 pounds of jerky, so we're probably going to be doing, I'm going to say 14 pounds of this in jerky. So, and then the other 2 pounds we'll do the beef rolls. Anyways, it'll be close to that. We're going to do 2 tablespoons of black pepper, or teaspoons, I'm sorry, of black pepper, 2 teaspoons of smoked paprika, and one of those was heaping. We also want, and this is our salt, oh, we want garlic. I'm going to do a full tablespoon heaping of granulated garlic. Let's do another half here. There we go. Granulated garlic is delicious. I know this sounds odd, but a little bit of acid, about 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar in there. And then we need Worcestershire, or Worcestershire. I want about 1/3 cup, I'm eyeballing it, 1/3 cup of that in here. And then we need a cup of soy sauce. And then we're going to do a little bit of a taste test. It'll be very strong, but it'll give me an idea of what I need. And I didn't put any salt because the soy sauce and the teriyaki both have some salt. And then I might add a little bit of water to this. Really sweet and salty. And I think it'll be fine if I add some water. Now you could add a beer. I might even do that. My husband would he would like that, I think, if I added a beer to it. So put everything back together. Let's add part of a beer, and then we're going to get our meat marinating. Now I've got a 2-gallon Ziploc here. All right, guys, so I finished slicing up all the beef, and I decided not to do all of it. First off, I ended up doing 1.5 of the recipe I showed you for the marinade. And this bowl, this is a big bowl, and I'm worried that my dehydrator isn't going to be able to do all of it at once. And I don't mind doing 2 runs on the dehydrator. I've got 9 trays, but I don't want to do 3 because it's a long process. So we're going to go ahead, and we've really worked and made sure that the meat was separated, that they completely unroll on the ends, and we've got it all in the marinade, and we're gonna seal this bag up, put this in the refrigerator till tomorrow, and then that's when I'll be back to show you how you put it on the dehydrator. Now, this is still over 10 pounds of meat. This will go in the freezer for the next batch. When he starts getting low on this, I'll be able to do this. And maybe there'll be some more sales for this. I don't know if I mentioned, but this was $2.99 a pound for Angus beef. And I really feel like that's a better deal than we've had in the last couple of years. So I don't know. I don't want to feel like we're going to expect that again and again, but it sure would be nice. Anyway, so in the garage it goes, and I'll see you tomorrow when I'm putting down the dehydrator. Well guys, we're back, and it's part 2 of the beef jerky. Now, this has been in the refrigerator in the garage for 24 hours. It's time to put it on the dehydrator, and you could leave it a little longer. If I fill all 9 trays and I have some left, we're gonna have to. Or you can actually, if you don't have a dehydrator, you can do this in your oven. Just get a cookie sheet. I put parchment paper down, and you can put a cookie rack over the top of that and put your beef jerky on there and let it dry on the lowest temperature that your oven will go. Now, this is a Nezco dehydrator, and I'm going to use this. This is my 3rd one. I'm going to use this. This is the Open Country Adventure Campwear. I wouldn't take it camping. I usually don't have electricity. We're off grid. But for meats, you're going to be at 160 degrees. Most ovens, the lowest temperature they go is 170. So you're going to get it done a little quicker in the oven. Now, when I replace this dehydrator, I'm going to move on to a Excalibur, because they really are the Cadillac. So, because I know somebody's going to ask me, what kind of dehydrator should I buy? And I haven't done a whole lot of dehydrating for you guys lately, just because I've got so many videos on it. But I also am revisiting some of the old videos and realizing they probably could use some revamping. After watching a couple of them, I go, oh, that poor girl. She didn't know what she was doing. I still don't really have a clue on some stuff, but I do my best. So you want a little bit of space in between, but it's not critical. If they touch a little bit without overlapping, you're okay, because they're going to shrink up in the dehydrating process. And I'm going to try to get as many on each rack. And I got to give you a little rundown on my rack too. Each rack that I have, I purchased, let's take this off, and this is the motor up top. I purchased these, and this is a fine mesh for anything that's going to dehydrate that's small. These are also easier to get your cleanup on your trays is a lot easier. And honest and truly, I filled a large side of my sink with hot soapy water and just let them soak. Scrub them with the scrub brush and you're good to go. So I'm going to finish filling these trays. I'll let you know how much I get, and we're going to put this on 160 degrees. I'm going to leave it in the house because it's chilly outside and it'll go overnight. If it was hot, I'd go ahead and put it outside, but we're going to leave it on the inside. And it's not stinky like garlic or onions. Don't ever dehydrate onions in your house. You'll regret it. And if you dehydrate it outside, your neighbors regret that you did that. So, all right, we're going to move on. So guys, I filled all 9 trays and I had a little bit left over. And because I mentioned to you about doing it in the oven, if you didn't have a dehydrator, I'm going to go ahead and show you how I do it. This is what I had left. And so I've got, on this cookie sheet, I have a rack on top, but I have parchment down to catch any of the juices. And you're going to have, these are going to drip down on each other. So you want to make sure that you, like tomorrow, well, probably even tonight before I go to bed, I'll rotate the bottom trays to the top and the top back down to the bottom, because the fan and the heat is going to come from the top, even though it circulates down through the middle. And so theoretically, I probably had 10.5 trays. And I decided the beef that I put back in the freezer, because I don't feel good about the amount of sodium that's in here for the dogs. So I'm gonna go ahead and thaw that out, and I'm gonna do that beef completely plain. You can add thyme, you can add garlic, rosemary, those are all safe for dogs to eat. But I'm gonna show you how I make dog jerky for them, and I'll show you how much they love it. So that'll be their high protein treat, as well as I'm gonna get the chicken out and start doing chicken breast for them again, because they work really hard for us, helping harvest the chucker for our family to eat all winter, and I feel like they deserve to be taken care of. Anyways, when I text him, he said, "You're gonna make the pepper jerky, right?" And that means it has pepper on it, not just in the marinade. So each tray I went back through and just lightly sprinkle a light coating of pepper. It won't add heat, but it adds flavor, and he loves it that way. And then you've got the sweet and the pepper, and there you go. So this is gonna get plugged in here, and 160 degrees for however long it takes. Now, I don't like it to be brittle and so dried out. I want about 80% of the moisture taken out of it. We will store this in the refrigerator or even the freezer, just to be on the safe side. Now, you can, if you take all the moisture out, you can store it in an airtight container. But I really feel like I want to make sure it's safe for a long period of time, because we're going to have this for a few weeks. He hunts on the weekends. He's not going to eat this every day in his lunch. So that being said, I guess I'll see you when this is all done. And remember, this is going in a 170-degree oven. Got my oven preheating right now, and that's the lowest temperature it'll go. And yeah, we'll see you in a bit. So guys, we're back, and our jerky is done. The pan in the oven went for about 5 hours, and there's obviously some missing here, but I'm going to give you a comparison so you know that you can do it even without a dehydrator. My husband obviously liked it. He asked for some for his lunch, to have his snacks, but it's got a nice texture. It's dried out enough, but it's not crispy, if that makes sense. And that's how we like our beef jerky. And then the trays, nobody's touched these. The trays of jerky are the same. We've got that same flexible yet dried enough that it will store without refrigeration. Now, because there's such a large batch of this, I am going to store it in the refrigerator. I don't want any humidity to recreate bacteria growth. So we're just going to store it in the garage refrigerator in a big half-gallon jar or Ziploc bags. And so I'm going to taste the one from the oven. I think it's perfect for jerky. And then the one off the dehydrator. I can't tell the difference. Honestly, I can't tell the difference. So I did want to point out that the dehydrator, it went overnight, but before I went to bed last night, I went ahead and I had turned the oven off. I left the jerky in the oven overnight, but I had turned the oven off. This one, I turned the dehydrator down to 120. And then this morning when I got up, I checked it, and I'm glad I did because it was done this morning, and I just turned it off at about 6 this morning. If I'd left it on meat the whole time, it would have been overdone. Now, if you have pieces that you feel didn't get done enough because they were too thick, you can always leave it back, you know, put it back on and let it go a little longer. Like this piece, I think, needs to go a little longer. This piece was kind of thick, so we're going to go ahead and let that go, and that one there. And again, going down into the lower trays too. Now, I did rotate the trays, but let's see, we'll put this aside. And no, these are all good. Oh my gosh. except for here's another thick piece. And I knew there was going to be a couple thick ones in here that I wasn't sure about, but it's all good. They just go back on the dehydrator. So guys, I hope this inspires you to go ahead and make your own beef jerky. Save yourself a ton of money. This was $3 a pound, and beef jerky, when you buy it in the store, you're looking at $17 to $18 a pound. And it's full of stuff you really don't need in there. You can tweak your recipe any way you like. You can go sweet and spicy. I've got a few recipes now out here on YouTube that for jerky, so you can search, or I'll even try to put one in the iCard above. All right, guys, I can't wait to see you next time for another delicious recipe, maybe some dog jerky.